Imagine a man who can control food, wealth, and even the weather. A man who can make the sky rain and the earth grow crops. A man who will claim to be God, and millions will believe him. This is not a movie. This is the prophecy of Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal, the greatest deceiver in human history. For over 1,400 years, Prophet Muhammad warned his followers about him. But who exactly is Dajjal? Where did this story begin? And why did the Prophet say that no trial in human history will be greater than the trial of Dajjal? Tonight, we explore the entire history of Dajjal. In Islamic belief, Al-Masih Ad-Dajjal means the false Messiah. The word Dajjal comes from an Arabic root meaning to deceive, cover the truth, and spread lies. Dajjal will be a human being, but unlike any other human. Prophet Muhammad described him in great detail in authentic hadith. He said Dajjal will be a young man, strong and large in body, with curly hair, and most importantly, he will be blind in one eye. The Prophet said, his right eye will be like a floating grape, and between his eyes will be written the word kafir, disbeliever. According to hadith, every true believer will be able to recognize this sign, but many people will still follow him. Because Dajjal will not come with weakness. He will come with power. The story of Dajjal did not begin with Islam. In fact, according to Prophet Muhammad, every prophet warned their people about Dajjal. The Prophet said, there was no prophet who did not warn his nation about the one-eyed liar. This means that prophets like Nuh, Ibrahim, Musa, and Isa all warned their followers about this future trial. However, the most detailed warnings came from Prophet Muhammad. He spoke about Dajjal so frequently that his companions felt as if Dajjal might appear at any moment. One famous narration says, the Prophet spoke so much about Dajjal that we thought he might appear among the palm trees of Medina. This shows how seriously the Prophet wanted Muslims to understand this danger. The Prophet called the coming of Dajjal the greatest trial since the creation of Adam. Think about that. Human history has seen wars, disasters, and suffering. But the Prophet said none of them will compare to the trial of Dajjal. Dajjal will travel the world quickly. According to hadith, he will move across the earth like clouds driven by strong wind. He will enter almost every city on earth. But there are two places he will never enter: Mecca and Medina. Angels will guard these cities and prevent him from entering. Islamic teachings describe several conditions that will exist before Dajjal appears. One major sign is global confusion and deception. The Prophet said there will come years known as years of deception. During these years, liars will be believed. Honest people will be ignored. The ignorant will speak about important matters. Truth will become difficult to recognize. Another sign is widespread poverty and hardship. Food and resources will become limited. This will make people desperate. And desperation will make many people vulnerable to Dajjal's promises. There will also be wars, political chaos, and instability across the world. All of this prepares the stage for the arrival of the greatest deceiver. Dajjal will not simply convince people with words. He will come with extraordinary abilities that will make people believe he has divine power. According to hadith, Dajjal will be able to command the sky to rain, and it will rain. He will command the earth to grow crops, and the land will become fertile. People who follow him will receive wealth, food, and security. But those who reject him will face poverty and hardship. Dajjal will even perform things that appear like miracles. One narration says he will appear to bring a dead person back to life. But in reality, these events are part of the deception. Dajjal will also travel with what appears to be paradise and hell. But the Prophet warned. What he calls paradise is actually hell, and what he calls hell is actually paradise. This is why the trial of Dajjal is so dangerous. He will reverse the appearance of truth and falsehood. When Dajjal appears, humanity will face a massive test of faith. Some people will follow him for wealth and comfort. Others will follow him because they believe his miracles. but the strongest believers will refuse him. The Prophet gave Muslims specific guidance. He told believers to memorize the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf. These verses will protect a person from the deception of Dajjal. He also advised Muslims to stay away from Dajjal. Even strong believers should avoid meeting him. Because the Prophet said a person may think he is strong in faith, but after seeing Dajjal's miracles, they may begin to doubt. This shows how powerful the test will be. When the world is overwhelmed by the chaos of Dajjal, something extraordinary will happen. According to authentic hadith, Prophet Isa, Jesus, peace be upon him, will return to earth. He will descend from the heavens near Damascus, in Syria. At that time, the Muslim army will be preparing for prayer. Their leader will invite Isa to lead the prayer. But Isa will refuse and say, "Your leaders are from among you." This will show that he returns as a follower of the final message of Islam. Then Isa will begin searching for Dajjal. The final confrontation will take place near a place called Lud, in present-day Palestine. When Dajjal sees Isa, he will begin to melt like salt dissolving in water. Isa will chase him and finally defeat him. With Dajjal gone, the greatest deception in human history will end. Peace and justice will return to the earth. The story of Dajjal is not just about the future. It is a reminder about truth and deception. Dajjal represents the ultimate form of lies, manipulation, and false power. His story teaches Muslims that faith must be stronger than appearances. Sometimes evil may look powerful. Sometimes lies may appear convincing. But believers are reminded to stay connected to knowledge, truth, and the guidance of Allah. The Prophet warned about Dajjal not to create fear, but to prepare people. Because the greatest protection against deception is strong faith and understanding. The story of Dajjal is one of the most powerful prophecies in Islam. It reminds us that history is moving toward a final test of truth and deception. But it also reminds believers of something important. No matter how powerful falsehood appears, in the end, truth will always prevail.